they're mentally messed up. They're whether you got a $2 billion budget or you got a 200,000, everybody's done. They're going crazy. Suicidal.
They straight up paid him to vanish. A cool $6 million on the books, a clean break, and a promise that the tape that built an entire empire would never be whispered about on camera again. But Ray J says that deal wasn't just paperwork, it came with a hidden bomb inside the fine print. Kim Kardashian and Kris Jenner allegedly agreed that every single time that tape got mentioned on their Hulu show, it would cost them $1 million per slip. And just weeks after signing, with season 3 already filming, they allegedly broke it.
Doc, because people were surprised too that there were 2 tapes that y'all shot.
Okay, hold on. Hold on.
Try to talk to the mic.
He's doing something.
This isn't some hallway rumor or fake tea. In November 2023, Ray J filed a response and cross-complaint that spelled out the April 2023 settlement. He named Kim, Kris, and their production company, laid out the $6 million figure, and locked in that promise. No more talk, no more references, nothing about that old tape on the Kardashians. But then, less than a month later, May 2023 hits, season 3 drops, and according to Ray J, Kim, Kris, Kendall, even Ye start talking right back about the exact scandal they had just paid to bury. Every scene and every hint, he says that meter was ticking at $1 million a hit. So from the jump, the whole power dynamic flipped fast. For almost 20 years, Kim Kardashian has pushed the story that she was the innocent one in a leak she never wanted.
I would, but I need to talk to my lawyers. All I want to do is say everything. I talked to Chris Cuomo, and I want to do a one-on-one because he understands it. I don't know if I can or not, but if I can, I'm going to do it after this, or with Charlamagne and DJ Envy and Lauren. Just hilarious. Just is too hilarious for this.
Let's move on, because you can't discuss it.
But now, Ray J is claiming the real script was way different. Back in 2007, that whole storyline flipped a private tape into a rocket that launched Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and the family rode that wave straight into billionaire deals and worldwide fame. Now, Ray J's countersuit reads like a checklist of every moment they allegedly just couldn't leave the past alone. He calls their October 2024 defamation case a straight-up PR stunt, saying the truth is simple. They needed his silence, they paid for it, and then they allegedly broke their own deal because they couldn't resist turning old drama into brand new content. And this is where it stops being some dusty breakup from the past. According to Ray J's filing, the April 2023 agreement wasn't just a payout. It came with structure. Kim and Kris pay, they stop mentioning the tape on Hulu, and if they or anyone in their on-air circle do it again, he's owed $1 million in liquidated damages for every violation. That's the kind of contract clause executives treat like sacred text. Except Ray J says that within one season, the same cast and producers who signed that paper allegedly let new references slip on air. Now he claims those scenes aren't just shady, they're billable breaches with timestamps, episode numbers, and receipts he's ready to pull up. And when you rewind the story back to 2007, the pattern he's pointing at starts to look way clearer.
And be able to tell your own story, because they can't sue you if it's facts.
They can't sue me, period. These isn't facts. This is life. This is me like telling you that it's white and you're saying it's black. And they're like, well, it's blacker than white right now just because we don't want to get in trouble. We're getting cease and desist because we see the paper is white, but they're saying it's black with a cease and desist.
In his new lawsuit, Ray J alleges that the original rollout of the tape wasn't some random leak, but a coordinated release handled with vivid entertainment and managed by Kris Jenner herself. He says that way back in 2006, he and Kim were already talking about releasing the footage, and that Kim allegedly pushed for Kris to run the business side of it. He claims all three of them even signed licensing agreements with Vivid before the public ever heard a whisper about the tape. Then came what he calls the master play, a so-called bogus lawsuit filed in Kim's name, claiming she never consented. According to his complaint, that fake legal battle with Vivid had one purpose: hype. He alleges Kim, Kris, and Vivid agreed she would sue, deny ever agreeing, then secretly settle. Also, a planted story about a $5 million payout could spread everywhere on sites like TMZ. On camera, the rising star could cry about shame and embarrassment, while behind the scenes, the tape already had a studio deal locked in. The legal fight looked noble, and the reality brand suddenly had an origin story built on victimhood. And if a judge ever decides that allegation holds weight, it doesn't just make the family look bad, it raises real questions about insurance, tax filings, and what the network really knew about those early storylines. Fast forward to April 2022 and the big launch of the Kardashians on Hulu.
Same level of PR machinery that the Kardashians got?
Man, it hurts to talk about it, bro. I don't want to get emotional because I just want to be a good person.
Well, if he wasn't,
when I say I want to be a good person, I'm already a good person. It's just
Almost 15 years after the Vivid rollout, Kim went right back to that same storyline, building major scenes in season 1 around a supposed new tape and fresh fear. Ray J's cross-complaint says that on the show, Kim claimed he gave a laptop with extra footage to a former manager, that he violated her while she slept, and that he was basically holding materials over her. Kris, Kendall, and even Ye got pulled into that plot, talking about supposed extortion and dramatic last-minute retrieval missions in front of millions watching in 2022. What looked on TV like a woman reliving old trauma felt totally different to Ray J watching from the sidelines. To him, the Kardashians were spinning up what he calls a brand new fake controversy just to push their streaming era forward, and that move blew up fast. According to the filings, Ray J hit Kim on Instagram in April 2022, right after those episodes aired, calling her out over the claims. The complaint says Kim begged him to play along with yet another scripted storyline, one where they supposedly teamed up with Vivid to clean the tape off the internet, making them look like partners in a cleanup job instead of co-architects of the original deal. He allegedly turned that down, and once his private messages and later interviews started surfacing, things shifted from quiet talks to straight legal stances. By April 2023, they reached the settlement that's now falling apart right in front of everyone. Then comes the big flip of 2023.
feeling, brother.
you good?
I'm feeling good.
You got a lot going on.
Lot going on, yeah. I wanna make it really. I'm happy that this is my platform now. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yes.
To go into the holidays and the Q4 correctly.
Okay.
With respect and
Ray J says that in the very next season, season 3, premiering May 2023, Kim, Kris, Kendall, and Ye dropped fresh references to the same tape and the same storyline. From his angle, that wasn't just messy, that was breach on camera. In his countersuit, he says that when he pointed out those violations, Kim and Kris didn't deny the footage existed. Instead, they allegedly tried to tweak the deal, asking for a pass on any statements recorded before the agreement was finalized but released after. Basically, they wanted a retroactive loophole for content already lined up. He said no, and the private settlement meant to bury the whole saga turned into a brand new war. And underneath all that contract drama sits a quieter, tougher question. Where did that $6 million come from, and how clean does that money look on paperwork? On the surface, Kim's empire looks clean: Skims, beauty brands, and her very public law apprenticeship. But insiders had already been whispering that by early 2023, Skims was under real pressure to keep its sky-high valuation while marketing costs kept climbing and the profit margins were way slimmer than those glossy ads suggested. At the same time, her divorce from Ye was still kicking up headlines about support, property, and financial structures set up during their marriage. So if any piece of that $6 million came from accounts or setups connected to their split, and if that money moved in a way that wasn't fully laid out, the payout that was supposed to silence drama could start looking a lot like financial misrepresentation. Nobody's saying there's proof of that part yet, but Ray J's own public statements already draw a line from these alleged deals to the kind of patterns federal prosecutors tend to look at. In September, during a heavily shared live stream, he said he was talking with authorities and claimed he could drop a RICO-style case on Kim and Kris, comparing what he calls their alleged actions around the tape to the racketeering accusations later aimed at Sean Diddy Combs. He walked that back a bit later, saying he only meant he saw similarities between RICO setups and what he calls their alleged conspiracy with Vivid, plus a second alleged scheme to push him into signing the 2023 agreement while they planned more storyline content. Kim and Kris fired back using the strongest legal language they've ever aimed at him. Their October defamation suit flat out says no federal investigation exists and paints Ray J as someone stuck on a short relationship nearly 20 years old. Their lawyer, Alex Spiro, doubled down in multiple statements, calling his countersuit frivolous, disjointed, and insisting he's guaranteed to lose. That's classic heavy-handed PR. Deny any federal interest, paint the accuser as obsessed, and act like the word RICO is pure fantasy. But the harder they push that angle, the deeper they lock themselves into sworn statements about what is or isn't happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Kim is stepping into season 7 of The Kardashians with a public image that looks nothing like the one she had back in 2007. And now she's only 3 months away from the bar exam. On camera this year, she tearfully revealed she was diagnosed with a brain aneurysm after what she called extreme stress, linking that stress to her divorce from Ye and the ongoing challenges that come with co-parenting her children. At the same time, she's trying to balance law studies, nonstop PR storms, and the heat she gets over North's bold social media choices. She's been catching questions about everything: her parenting, her partnerships, even her whole vibe. Every emotional clip about exams or a psoriasis flare is crafted to keep viewers tied to her struggle. And every new scandal, even the uproar over North's dramatic face tattoos and piercings for online looks, gets spun into a story that Kim is under pressure and doing her best to keep it together. But when you line up those polished TV moments next to Ray J's version of events, things get explosive fast. On one side, you've got a mother saying her health is cracking under divorce, public criticism, and endless work. And on the other side, an ex who says she and her mother spent almost 20 years pushing a false story about him, flipping their platforms, and even the legal system into tools for publicity, power, and pressure. And if his documents hold up, the question won't just be whether Kim added drama for TV. It'll be whether she and Kris built a whole entertainment machine on agreements they never planned to fully respect. That's when the RICO shadow stops sounding like some random live stream joke and starts looking like a blueprint. RICO cases focus on patterns, repeated schemes, coordinated moves, the same players running plays over the years to profit off misleading stories or pressure deals. Ray J isn't talking about one old tape or one broken relationship anymore. He's laying out what he calls a long-running operation, staged lawsuits in 2007, a choreographed comeback storyline in 2022, a carefully written settlement in 2023, followed by immediate on-camera violations and an alleged attempt to tweak the contract after the fact. If he convinces a court that these weren't one-off mistakes, but chapters in one strategic playbook, then Kim and Kris aren't just staring at a payout. They're staring at the risk of a federal judge connecting the dots he's already laid out. And if history has shown anything about this family, their next big camera moment might make that target even bigger. And this is where Kim's own body collides with the story in the most dramatic way. In the season 7 premiere, we saw her sliding into an MRI tube, then later telling her family that doctors found a small aneurysm and tied it to extreme stress. We're told that stress comes from her law exams, from parenting, from a long and bitter divorce with Ye. But look at the timeline. That diagnosis drops right after the first legal clash with Ray J, after the multi-million-dollar settlement that was supposed to bury everything, and after her own team allegedly failed to stop the show from breaking the agreement almost instantly. So, are we looking at random bad luck? Or a body reacting to an empire that knows exactly how shaky things are getting? Because when doctors write stress on a chart, they're not writing Ray J, Hulu, or liquidated damages, but all that pressure still stacks up heavy. Around the same time she's talking about a brain aneurysm on Hulu, Kim is also filming confessionals about another psoriasis flare, crying over another bar exam attempt, and trying to navigate new backlash over North's bold TikTok looks. Then add in a countersuit painting her as the architect of a 20-year storyline, a defamation claim calling her an intentional manipulator of the legal system, and a settlement where every word she agreed to can now be dissected by a judge. With all that piled on, it makes sense why insiders whisper that she's running on fumes. And we can't ignore the one name that keeps coming back as both her shield and her liability. Yeah, publicly, she's tried to reframe him as the chaotic ex who pulls her back into headlines she's trying to avoid, but buried in older coverage is a detail Ray J's team is definitely circling. Years ago, Ye himself tweeted about hitting Kim from both sides with a follow-up tape, calling it a creative stunt. Back then, it sounded like late-night noise, but now it reads like someone hinting that more footage, more talks, and more off-the-books deals might have been floating around behind the scenes. Money people watching this whole situation are now eyeing Ye's side of the balance sheet, all because of that $6 million sitting on paper. Kim is a billionaire, so in theory, she could cut that check out of pocket change. But Skims has been burning through giant marketing budgets, legal bills pile up fast, and divorce settlements tied to massive portfolios and trust accounts are never simple. So if, as some former advisors quietly hint, funds connected to Ye's trusts or old marital accounts were routed, knowingly or not, toward quiet payouts linked to the tape drama, then any federal team pulling bank records wouldn't stop at Kim. Ye's ledgers, wires, emails, all of that could turn into exhibits real quick. Suddenly, the man she fought hard to distance herself from might be holding the most dangerous receipts in the whole story. Ray J's off-camera talk about Rico sounded wild at first. In a live stream back in September, he name-dropped Kim and Chris while mentioning federal racketeering, saying the case he was gearing up to drop would be crazy and warning that the feds is coming. That clip is what set off the defamation lawsuit. Kim and Chris fired back through their lawyers, saying no federal investigation exists and calling his claims straight fantasy. But when you strip away the hype, what he described wasn't a confession. It was a roadmap, a pattern of alleged deception tied to money, media plays, and contracts. And that's exactly the kind of pattern federal prosecutors are trained to spot. We can break it down the same way a federal memo might frame it. 1. The 2007 legal theater. Ray J's complaint claims that Kim, Chris, and Vivid agreed she would file a lawsuit saying she never consented to the tape's release. A move he says was intentionally staged to build hype and frame her as the wronged party, while the deal was already locked in. Ray J says that even though all three had already signed licensing deals, the claims against Vivid were straight lies, and that the $5 million settlement leaked to TMZ was just part of the script. If true, that means the courts weren't used for justice, but for marketing, with contracts, filings, and press leaks all feeding the same machine. Act 2, the 2022 Hulu reboot. When the Kardashians launched on Hulu, Kim circled back to the tape, spinning a new story about a laptop, an ex-manager, and supposed violations while she slept. Ray J says she knew he didn't even have the footage she described and added lines like intimately assaulted her to turn the drama up. Chris, Kendall, and Ye echoed those claims on camera, calling him shady and accusing him of extortion. Ratings jumped, headlines exploded, but if his filings are correct, the trauma was manufactured on top of old agreements. That's not just messy. It starts to look like long-term commercial exploitation of a false storyline. Act 3. The 2023 settlement and alleged breach. After he threatened legal action over the Hulu storyline, they struck the April 2023 settlement. Kim and Chris pay $6 million and promise zero future mentions of the tape with a $1 million penalty each time they break it. But within a month, Season 3 drops, and Ray J claims Kim, Chris, Kendall, and Ye violated the clause again. When he called them out, they allegedly tried to tweak the deal, asking to be forgiven for scenes already recorded but not yet aired. To a civil judge, that sounds like breach and bad faith. And to a federal investigator, it might look like something even deeper. Put all these moves together and it starts looking like a pattern. Make a deal, flip it into TV content, then scramble to rewrite the terms once somebody calls it out. When you line up those three acts, Ray J's Rico comparison stops sounding like pure drama and starts sounding like a strategy map.
Kids are here tonight. My kids, my children, my grandchildren, and even Rob, which means the world.
Rico cases don't need a single explosive moment. They need repeated, coordinated moves built around the same goals: money, control, or both. And if Ray J's filings are accurate, the goal here was simple: keep Kim's origin story marketable and keep him boxed in. The tools he lists: staged lawsuits, scripted confessionals, settlement terms, and heavy-handed defamation claims, all supposedly work towards that same mission. If the feds ever decided those tools were used to mislead courts, investors, or business partners, then we're not talking about influencer drama anymore. We're talking about potential mail fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracy charges tied to the same storyline that once sold handbags and beauty drops. And unlike civil disputes, you can't just cut a check to make federal charges disappear. That's why Ray J's framing hits hard. Even with no investigation announced, he's basically handing any ambitious attorney a ready-made blueprint. The 2007 lawsuit used as promotion. The 2022 Hulu reboot turning old claims into new tiers. The 2023 settlement allegedly broken within weeks, followed by a defamation suit meant to shut him down. 3 acts, 1 through line, and an empire that might not survive a real deep dive. Meanwhile, Kim keeps showing the polished version on camera, the stressed but steady mom studying law and trying to co-parent while past partners drag her name. Drop a comment, share this around, hit like, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one.